Welcome along to Aston Villa from the stands. I hope you're well. If you're watching this video, make sure to smash a like, subscribe to the channel, and get involved in the comment section. Tonight, we're talking about the man who has fallen out with Juve, who is sticking his foot in the sand, and basically, Juve are now pleading to the footballing community, come get him. Dusan Vlahovic, a man who has made his situation precarious, and potentially Aston Villa are attentive to the situation, looking at the situation, and maybe interested in the situation. This one's a fascinating one because once again, we have a striker who in Europe has fallen out with a club and now is potentially looking to find a resurrection in his career. Could it be of Aston Villa? We'll have to wait and see. But I'm very interested to know what people's thoughts are on Dusan Vlahovic. I want to know people's thoughts on how they rate him. Do they think he'd be a good fit at Villa? And is this again someone who's going to come in and play with Ollie Watkins, or is this going to be a replacement? All those questions, all those theories, all those things, and I'd love to know what you guys think. So big up to everyone in the chat, big up to if you're watching on replay as well. As always, share your stories, share your discussions with all involved, because this, as I said, is a fascinating one. Dusan Vlahovic. Now, a couple of years ago, this guy was the most sought-after striker on the planet. Everyone wanted to get their hands on Dusan Vlahovic. Everyone. And in the end, he chose a really interesting move from Fiorentina to Juve. He stayed in Serie A. And everyone thought, oh, wow, he's going to cook. He's going to light it up. He's going to be the answer for Juve to propel them again into a very competitive league. It's just not going that way. So the backstory is this. Before we go into the Aston Villa links, the backstory of Dusan Vlahovic is this. Right now, the guy is playing in the Club World Cup, or had played in the Club World Cup, and only had one start in 4 games. The rest of the time, he found himself on the bench. Number 2, Juve, who I'm very envious of, have just signed Jonathan David. Jonathan David, the Canadian, has landed at Juve. And I thought, yeah, good business there. Juve, you know what you're doing. Smart. Jonathan David, fair play, great signing. But not only that, not only are Juve just content on Jonathan David, no. There has been reports coming out of Juve that they want another guy up there, and they're looking at 2 options. One being Randall Colomwani, and the other one has completely escaped my head, and it will come back to me in a minute. But basically, Juve are after someone else to partner Jonathan David up front. And not only has it got really messy with Jonathan David signing, but Dusan Vlahovic, when Jonathan David was announced, has put some very cryptic social media posts saying that he's the number 9 for Juve and that basically he ain't going nowhere. Current situation is this. Juve now want to get rid of Vlahovic, and Vlahovic is saying, I ain't going anywhere. And the bloke is on 12 million a year, and he's happy to sit there and rot. Fascinating story. So we're going to get into why, how, and Aston Villa are linked to Dusan Vlahovic. What does this mean? And again, the character of Dusan Vlahovic. So big up to everyone. It has been commented that we could be getting a very slash price Dusan Vlahovic as well. This is how desperate Juve are to get rid of this guy, that they're willing to let this guy go at a very discounted deal. Big up to everyone in the chat. Some really good comments flowing in already. So let's see what people are saying. Big up to each and every one of you. 8074 said, it's a no for me, Vlahovic. He could be good, but I just don't think so. You're not feeling it. Big up to everyone in the chat. Seems to be a lot of noise around players linked with Villa, but still not to be any real progress. Again, the word attentive in terms of Dusan Vlahovic, it's not exactly like there's any substance to it. It's just that we're watching. Rachel said, injury record is a worry for me with Vlahovic, plus his wages would be way too high. Now, we're going to discuss the wage situation in a second, because it is absolutely something that Villa can negotiate with. Now, Juve are going to have a predicament here. They're either going to have to loan Vlahovic out now, or they're going to have to hardball. And they're going to have to basically flog him. So without further ado, let's get into the stuff on. Big up to each and every single one of you in the chat. Great to see so many familiar names in here. And as always, do make sure that you share the stream, like it, and of course, get involved in the discussion because we love it. I've got to share it myself, telling you guys to share it. I haven't shared it myself. So yeah, big up to each and every single one of you. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions on what I'm talking about today. So let's get the first story up that I had here. So loads of different reports. It's come from Gazzetta, the Italian journal Gazzetta, as we talked about. It says here, Aston Villa are tentative to Dusan Vlahovic situation. Juventus want to amicably terminate his contract, which expires next June, to get him off the wage bill. Vlahovic is digging his heels in. He wants to and is happy to sit at Juve on his 12 million a year contract and run it down. Run it down. Now, when Juve are that happy to terminate his contract, and when Juve really are looking to get rid of him off the books, there's going to be a whole different story behind this. Now, everyone's talking about his wages, and I'm going to come to some other stories about his wages in a minute, because though the deal to actually sign him is going to be a discounted one, it is absolutely imperative to know that there is scope here. And I want to know how Juve play this out. I want to know how Juve are going to play this one out. And while his asking price is going to be slashed, he's valued at 30. Let's say this. Juve signed him for 70 million. The rumours are you're going to get him for 50%. So you're looking for 30 to 35 million for a striker, which in this day and age is not bad, is it? When you're looking at the modern day market of trying to find a number 9, you pay 30, 35 million for a goal scorer. You're okay with that. But as everyone is talking about, it is the wage bill. And I need to try and show you something else on this. This is another little story that's come up here, just to give a little bit more about his stats as well. Aston Villa showed an interest as 20 GA star made available for just 15 million. I mean, they're putting the price even lower. I was going for a 50% discount. This is like 75% discount. And yeah, if it is worth 15 million, this is something where Villa have to add up and realise that actually, could we go get Vlahovic for 15 million and then go and sell a Leon Bailey and give Vlahovic the Leon Bailey type wages? Does that make sense? Why can't we potentially shift someone to get a really cheap striker in to get them on wages? I think each and every single one of us know, and I know there'll be a few people in this chat right now who'll say, but Josh, we've got Donyell Marlon. There's a lot of people holding on to Donyell Marlon as being the answer to a backup number 9 as such. Because right now, it's a one-man band, it's Ollie Watkins, and he's got no merryman behind him. I think it is imperative, if Aston Villa want to get Champions League football again next season, we need a number 2 striker that is a striker. None of this Rashford or Malin BS. A proper number 9 who absolutely would fight it out for Ollie Watkins. And look, I'm not saying replace Ollie Watkins. I'm saying sign Dusan Vlahovic with Ollie Watkins there as well. So that one is 15 million. I mean, again, guys, I'm going to say this to you. Imagine being able to sign a number 9 who is 15 million. Now, we're in battle with a lot of clubs. Nottingham Forest, AC Milan. But it's, again, that word, the salary. So what do Juve do? I've got a really good article here to show you now from an Italian perspective about that. But before I do, have a look at his injury record. I think someone in the chat, I think it was Rachel earlier, mentioned it in the chat earlier. But yeah, Dave, yes, yeah, then the rest of the squad get annoyed this guy's in double more of their wages. That's what we've got to be careful of. I agree on that. Extreme Gamer said, what's up, Duran? Wanted to come back to Villa. Also, Villa should all over PSG striker who not happy in second straight and the loaning we had from PSG last season. So Asensio is getting rejected left, right, and Wigan from people. Milan have just rejected him. Duran has gone to Fenerbahce. That's been agreed, 1-year loan. That's been announced by Fabrizio today. And the PSG striker, is that Colomboa? Gonzalez. Is it Gonzalez you're on about? And then potentially, yeah. I mean, there's things there, but there we go. Watkins is better than just keep Watkins look for backup. But that's what I think. Why can't Vlahovic come in and fight for his place at Villa? Why don't we create that? Or why don't we tell Vlahovic, there's a bit of longevity here. We might sell Ollie next season, X, Y, and Z, enticing that. I can't see it happening until he's on something in the region of 350,000 a week, even with a discount salary would kill our SCR. The thing that I'm looking at is, say we bring in him and he gets on 150, 160. Remember this guy, if his contract gets terminated from Juve, he's got to go find a club, and no one's going to take him on those wages that he's asking for. That's why I think a loan deal may come into play in a minute. That's why I think that a loan deal may come into place. That's how I see it. I do see a loan deal, but have a look at this. Vlahovic on the rumour, and that seems the argument being he's younger than Watkins as a recent signing. Not only does he have recurrent injuries, but he's also on 300k per a week. He'd have to agree to half his wage for a start, not happening. A funny thing is can happen, but let's have a quick look at his injury record. Not ideal. If you look, since he signed at Juve in 22-23, he spent a lot of time on the injury table. 22-23 season, 112 days, missed 14 games. 23-24 missed 3 games, and 24-25 missed 8 games. So Vlahovic has a thing with injuries that, it's okay. It's not the worst injury record I've ever seen with a striker. And again, it may be something that people can use as a legitimate argument as to why, basically, Vlahovic, you're not quite worth 350k anymore. That's what could be said. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely, yeah, quick straight disharmony. Imagine being Watkins with his goals, assists, proven premier, same way given an unproven plan for 150k a week more than him. Yeah, it would be disgusting, to be fair, and you would be furious. But that is exactly, but we know how brutal football is. Daniel Marlon signs in January, doesn't end up even getting in our Champions League squad, and 2 loanees do. Football, weird, funny, brutal things happen, and we have to be careful of that, don't we? And big up to Extreme Gamer, who's been a member for 15 months, locked in for over a year now. World class, absolutely love it. And if you do want to join our membership, then of course you can for 99p. Big up to each and every single one of you. And Noel says, I agree with you, Josh's transfer very cheap won't be a pinch 50 million for playing 25. I just think, obviously, people are getting caught up in the wage situation. And I really do get that because Villa have said, and we prioritise the fact that we want to reduce our wage bill, and we have to focus on that. My biggest thing for this, though, my biggest thing for the wage bill situation is, why can't we, in a way, even if we get them to halve it, we can still offload someone and bring in like for like, or if we offload 2 players, bring in 1. I don't know. I just think right now, 2 priority positions, a right back, who can also play centre back, and a number 9. What if Ollie Watkins gets injured? Are we really going to be rest easy with Daniel Marlon as the 9? So when there is a 15 million euro striker available at discounted price, you're looking at some of the fees that Arsenal pay for Gyökeres, the fees that are touted for Benjamin Sesko. I think we're even asking for Ollie Watkins. We're asking for 60 mil for Ollie Watkins, who, by the way, yes, as someone said, is Premier League proven. Dusan Vlahovic at 15 million, I'm all over that. I'm absolutely all over that. Man United channel said they didn't rate Watkins. Jeez Louise, poor buggers. What, and they rate Rasmus Højlund? I mean, when you've got Rasmus Højlund as your number 9, if you don't rate Ollie Watkins, when are you ever going to be happy? Watkins is better than Rasmus Højlund. Even if you don't rate Watkins, he's still better than what you got. So, yeah, we have to reduce. That is true. And you reckon Malin knew about that, do you? The injury's a bit concerning, though. True, but then that there are something we have to contend with. But there we go. Frostbite says, the wages makes a non-starter. We need to reduce our wages 70%. We'll be getting young players in other than the number 10. Yeah, I've always said that we're probably going to target the young players. I really do, and I think that we've attempted that with Jesus Rodriguez and Sven Ipan and missed out. I just can't ignore the price of 15 million. But have a look at this article. It gives us a bit more insight into this whole situation with Dusan Vlahovic. So this is like taken from the Italian Gazzetta. And obviously, the first part of it, as you can see the title, which says, Vlahovic remains a problem for Juventus to solve why Milan are an option. Selling in-house to Italy, is it? How do I close that bugger? There we go. So, Juve must resolve the future of Vlahovic before the end of the summer, and AC Milan have again been mentioned as a destination. As Jonathan David has arrived, the Juve hope to pair him with someone like, Victor Osimhen. I mean, that's another player that's been branded to go to Juve. Imagine that. Imagine if Juve signed Victor Osimhen and they've already got Jonathan David. I mean, Juve are cooking there. You got no chance. No offence to Dusan Vlahovic, but yeah, no wonder you dropped in the pecking order. Juve may go and tout the two best nines on the market, David and Osimhen. Madness if they do. Madness. I would take, again, chat, let me know. Would you take Jonathan David and bloody Osimhen? Imagine that situation. See if I can make this a bit bigger. There we go. However, there's a Vlahovic puzzle to solve. The Serbian has been demoted in Igor Tudor's hierarchies. At the Club World Cup, only one game as a start out of 4. But there's been no contractual changes. Vlahovic has changed his mind and aims to leave the club in just 1 year as a free agent and after a season with a salary of 12 million. A clear project and as something intriguing and surprising comes along. I mean, guys, this guy is that stubborn that he's willing to now say, I'm going to leave on a free. You go sign Victor Osimhen, you go sign Jonathan David, it's fine. I'll sit here, I'll earn my 12 million a year, and I'll leave on a free. But quite frankly, Juve will be rolling in their sick bed if this guy goes for free. They cost him 70 million euros plus a 300k a week salary. The amount of money that has been splashed on this guy, you simply cannot let him go for free. You simply cannot let Dusan Vlahovic go for free. Hence why the desperation and need that is going around is 15 million. We'll take some money for him. We'll cut our losses. We'll still make a 50 million plus loss, but at least he doesn't go for free. Absolutely crazy what Vlahovic has put in here. Absolutely crazy. So Milan. So they're going to meet with the agent, blah, blah, blah. But it said this bit caught my eye. See if I can make it even bigger. Oh, gosh. I've messed that up now. Here we go. The options range from the obvious sell to a 1-year bridge renewal to allow the former Fiorentina player to relaunch himself on loan. Different paths, but the same objective, to change Vlahovic's plans. So far, not very attracted by Saudi or Turkey. Another Saudi rejection. Dusan has 2 priorities for the post-Juventus: maintaining the same technical and economic status. 50 days of negotiations, however, are a lot and can unblock what currently seems like a dead end. Basically, a loan deal may work better for him and for all parties. It's an interesting one. And they want Osimhen or Kolo Muani. Milan, though. The striker weighs around 20 million on the budget, but every day they can meet the buyers more. The 70 million man has become a market problem for the old lady, and everyone outside of Contenisa is aware of it. Basically, Juve have realised they've got to play on 2 high wages who they cannot get rid of for anywhere near the price. Vlahovic does not seem to be in a hurry, and Milan are waiting as one of the clubs that could perhaps tempt him. Now, it is a suggestion, but we'll see at the end of August what the situation will be and if the conditions will be more advantageous. Look, I'll put it out there. If Juve are willing to pay half the wages and we can get him on about 150k on loan for a season with an option to buy, I'm taking him. I'm taking him as my number 2 striker. I don't care if he throws a hissy fit about it. He's my number 2 striker. And he's there ready if Ollie gets injured. But no way, Jose, am I sat here endorsing us to buy a Dusan Vlahovic on a 350k a week. I want him at 150. And if we can't meet that demand, then obviously we have to say goodbye. But I think that Aston Villa need to be realistic and saying that they need to go into next season with a number 2 striker that isn't Donyell Marlon. That's how I feel. So it's a really difficult one. It's that 15 million price tag that's over him. It's very, very interesting. I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on this one. Vlahovic has absolutely dug himself a grave though at Juve. Absolutely dug himself a grave. I don't know how he's going to get out of it, especially when Osterman and Jonathan David are going to be there. And then I'll be honest, it probably stinks a bit of his character as well now, isn't it? That he is actually willing to leave on a free on his 12 million a year contract. That's what he's willing to do. He's willing to leave on a free. Again, that sort of says something about the person, the player that you're potentially signing. And yeah, let's see what the chat is saying though. Big up to everyone who's commenting. Big up to Fraser's in as well. Bernie Brown saying Vlahovic is terrible. He's not a fan. Hit the likes, please, guys. And we need more than 20 likes, 100%. We should be on 30 by now, so run them up. I actually don't rate him. It doesn't fit our system anyway. And a lot of money. Agree. That's what a lot of people say. Rachel says he wants to sign on bonus from someone and the high wages from running down his contract. That's his prerogative. Yeah, it's loud and clear. And you almost have to sit there and say, do you know what? At least he's honest. At least he sat there saying, this is what I'm trying to do. But even selling someone, giving them their wages doesn't sell the wage. We have to sell big earners and place them much lower wages. Why I can see Dean being invulnerable. I agree. I think that I've always said Luca Dean for me is on the chopping block. Leon Bailey, Luca Dean, and Debu are probably the top three on the chopping block because of their wages. Don't want him at those wages. Not when we're looking to sacrifice Martinez for that very reason. It's true. It's true. It's real talk from all of you. So, yeah, look, precarious situation, something that I'll look at and go, do you know what, Villa? Let's just make sure that if it's there, we're doing the right thing. I just think that, weird stuff is happening again in the transfer market. I'll quickly put this one up. I mean, the forgotten man, we talked about this one recently, but I mean, look, a number 9 right there. Oh, wait, there he is. Official, John Duran leaves illness injuries Fenerbahce on a 1-year loan. Fenerbahce will cover his salary as planned. John Duran was a top target for Jose Mourinho, and they've got him. How weird is that? I mean, how weird is that image, chat? How weird is that image? John Duran, within the space of 6 months, has played for 2 clubs, was going to play for 2 clubs. It's crazy. It's crazy. And the fact that Fenerbahce are actually going to cover his wages as well suggests, that could really be the thing. And he does always look miserable. And it's a sad thing. It's a sad thing. And Duran and Mourinho will be a very interesting combination. I think Mourinho quite likes the fiery characters. I don't know if you guys have seen the story of where Mourinho God, I've got to think now who he played. The Mario Balotelli situation. So what club would that have been at? Or am I getting the wrong player? Would it have been at Inter? Basically, I remember Mourinho saying he spent the whole of his halftime talk, 14 minutes of his halftime talk, telling Mario Balotelli, who was on a yellow card, how important it is for him to be on the pitch, not to be sent off. They need him to go careful. Spent 14 minutes during that in to Mario Balotelli. And then literally 1 minute into the second half, Balotelli gets the second yellow and sent off. Those are the type of players that Mourinho likes dealing with. He likes a Zlatan character, Jose. He likes a Mario Balotelli. He likes a bit of a maverick, a rough edge player, someone who's got a bit of fire, someone who's got a bit of heart. And do you know what? The Turkish league is actually brilliant for Mourinho. I don't know if you've seen him. He had a bit of a spat with the Galatasaray manager. Potentially, if I remember, clawing him in the face or something like that. But yeah, it's all there. Now, this guy hasn't gone away talking about Turkey and the Turkish league and Turkish strikers. I want to know what you guys make of this. Of this one. He'll always be a good Prem striker, and I always regret him going without ever getting a proper run. I know. I wish he had a proper run. Like 10 games start in a row and see what he'd done. Surely the key point to remember is how injury-prone he appears to be. Even Villa getting a really good deal. There's a risk that he spends high percent injury table there. Oh, in terms of Vlahovic, yeah, I think his injuries are concerning, to be honest, and we do have to keep an eye on that. Aston Villa is reportedly planning a move for Besiktas striker Semih Kilicsoy. It's understood that Besiktas signed Tammy Abraham has opened the door to his potential departure, and he could leave for a fee around 15 million. A lot of people have been purring superlatives about this striker. Again, chat, I'm interested to know your thoughts on this guy. Semih Kilicsoy. Don't know too much about him. Don't know really like the fundamentals of who he is. But again, all I ever hear is this is a top young striker, knows where the back of the net is. And again, if Besiktas have got scope to move, then we'll see. Let's see if I can find a little bit more about this guy. Let me see if I can get his wages as well. Semih Kilicsoy. Let's see what I can find. Although, I'll be honest, his stats last season are pretty crap. 32 games, 3 goals, 2 assists. But he's 19 years old. So he's going to be on low wages. I wonder if I can find his... I mean, the fee's 15 million. How do I find the wages? How do I find wages? Let's see what this article says. He's 19, but he didn't have best 12 million. But he's registered 16 goals and 9 assists in 85 first team appearances. Yeah, can't find his wages. Let's see if I can type in wages here. What are we on? What are we on? Okay, here we go. This is what our AI friend is saying. Yeah, I am Meeks actually. Yeah, it's hit me. I think it's because I'm thirsty as well. On that one, Meeks. This is what the old AI overview. Whether you use this or trust this or not, you have to let me know. But here's the wages because it's a good question. Tammy was on 90k. It feels like we've been linked with Kilicsoy in every window. It does. I think it's his age again. This is what it says. Semih Kilicsoy's weekly wage at Besiktas is approximately only 7 grand. This equates to an annual salary of roughly. This is interesting. He's on a really cheap wage. He's on a really cheap wage. He must be still on his like youth wage, unless he's had a contract extension. He must be on his youth wage, breaking into. It's not even $500,000 a year. Potential pay rise. Reports indicate a possible 50% increase in his annual salary. But guys, even see if anyone else is reporting anything different. No, it is all coming up as roughly that 7,000. So 8 grand a week. Chat, he's on 8 grand a week. That's just throwing an absolute curveball there. Basically, we could pick up someone, a young prospect, 19 years old, Turkish league, backup striker to Ollie Watkins, has already broken in at 18-19 for Besiktas, played 32 games last season, scored 3, 2 assists, but still was playing a lot of football, and essentially 7 grand a week. Imagine if we just go to make come to us on 20 grand a week. I mean, unbelievable, isn't it? That's how you save. That's how you save money, isn't it? That's how you save money. What do you think of that, chat? Does that sort of signing? Does that sort of signing? Right, here we go. What type of signing are you looking for now? Do you want someone like Vlahovic who's proven at a good European level, could score goals, bit of an attitude problem, and a high wage? Or are we going for this unknown quantity who's on absolute pennies, could absolutely be incredible, or he could end up being a Lewis Dobbin and we just loan him out and loan him out and loan him out, or a Louis Barry or Cameron Archer, not quite there. And that's what I'm saying, Brainy Brian. That's not how you win things, signing Semih Kilicsoy. And this is the issue, and I'm glad you agree. This is the conundrum I'm in. I want Villa to be back in the top four next season. I want us to be winning a trophy. But why do I feel like our transfer market strategy this season is going to be all about the behind the scenes stuff of numbers? Why do I think it's going to be all about how we make the books look good? Why do I get that vibe? Why do I get that vibe that Villa are just simply looking at cheap players on cheap wages to balance the books? Instead of, if I was going on the other side of the coin, why are we not signing big names to propel us into that top four? That's a really devil's advocate position to be in. Now, again, people are saying in the chat, you take the 19-year-old, we can develop a system, not bankrupt the club. That seems to make more sense. Virtually no risk, absolutely. But I do agree with this comment, but that's not how you win things. And then it's about making money, isn't it? And as Rachel said, we've already signed Zepequino or Redmond? We've already signed Redmond as well as a young striker, so we've already got there. Christian said, I have no idea how we haven't even had a look at Georges Makatuzzi's. He's a top-class super sub, and we can snatch him at 60 million. I'd love to see him in the Premier. He's only young. What club does he... is that Leon, the Leon guy who got relegated? But yeah, and this is the thing. You can get players who no one's heard of, can pick up a good price at low wages, who could turn out to be superstars, which Brighton and Bournemouth do. Very good model of it. Even Brentford. We pay for scouts, yeah, they should do that. It's because we have to work on the financials. We could get transfer, and that's where the football leaves a sour taste in my mouth. In a sense, the modern game is that I think again this would be my most commonly used phrase this season is we're so close, but so far. And the so far part is that we're constantly having to deal with this narrative of working out to stop ourselves getting sanctioned because we're not in the cartel greedy Sky 6. We're constantly being a club who has to keep watching out how we don't become in the sanctions category. And so we have to try and do business differently. Instead of doing Arsenal and going, do you know what? I fancy Victor Gyökeres. Let's get him. Oh, do you know what? We need a backup keeper. Let's get a Kepa. Oh, do you know what? Man City. Oh, we want a playmaker. Ryan Cherky. Oh, we need a new left back. Aït-Nouri. Liverpool. Oh, we need a right back to replace Trent. Here's Frimpong. And these clubs don't even have to think about it. They don't even have to lose sleep over it. They can just throw down the money, get who they want, let the books take care of themselves. Simple as that. Whereas we have to constantly think about the books and not how we'll improve on the pitch. It must be very frustrating for a football manager where you have all your targets and you can't get them. Do you know what I mean? The only thing we need to consider is how the top clubs are spending strengthening, but Villa can't. Will the gap widen? That's my worry. I already see the gap widening now. I think people think I'm overreacting when I say this, but I already see the gap widening. I see the gap widening because the top four have all signed at least 2 free players. Man City have signed 3 players. Liverpool signed 3 players. Chelsea have signed 2. I'm just trying to think. Do they get a third? They've got. You could technically say 3 because they've got Estavo coming in, but they've got Delap. They've got João Pedro. Arsenal, Kepa, Norgard, Mosquera. Now getting Gyökeres, maybe even Madueke. Newcastle about to land the 55 million bomb on Alanga. Gap's already there though with the 4 teams, 4 spaces, 4 teams doing bits. We're still sat here going, can we get a youngster at 19 on 7k a week? I don't know. That's how I feel. The gap is widening. That Champions League, missing out on it, I think it's going to haunt us. I really do. But we've got to get back in it next season. So build me a squad. Give me the manager. Give me the tools to get us Champions League. And that's why it's massive pressure, I think, this season on Unai Emery. I don't care what any Villa fan says in terms of, oh, this guy's untouchable. I think this guy, Unai Emery, has to deliver top 4 or a trophy. I think that's the pressure and expectations on where we're going. I really do. I don't know why it's in my feeling, but I just have to keep looking at the players' interviews, the Unai Emery interviews, what the owners are saying, that we're not trying to regress here. We're trying to move forward, and Champions League is the only way to move forward. And exactly that. We could be losing our best goalkeeper too, exactly. But Christian's right. As much as we don't want to admit it, we have a long way to catch up with the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City as being a global team to gain more income from sponsorships. Exactly that. But not just that, on the pitch as well, in terms of, the squads and the attrapment of what they got. Those annoying clubs have done their business early and probably won't stop either. I mean, let's put it this way. Imagine Man City, they do their Club World Cup, they stopped for a bit now, they've come back. Imagine if they signed someone else before us, even though they've already had that early transfer window. It'd be absolutely crazy. So, yeah, there we go. But just on wages and why it's so paramount, I saw this stat today and I just couldn't believe it. Also, Dean Smith's been saying some nice stuff. But what about this? Look at this. Look how ill this is. Look how ill this is. By the way, big up to everyone in the chat. Make sure you are smashing the like button for me. I would appreciate it. And let me know your thoughts, your feelings on this one. Aston Villa likely spent around 20 million in wages by signing Marcus Rashford, Marco Asensio, and Axel Disasi on loan in January. Deep that. Ink that. £20 million in wages on those guys. That's a lot of money. And the fact that Disasi's in there as well stinks. So what do we do? What do we do? 20 million in wages on those three is just horrendous. We should never have got ourselves in that precarious position. And the fact of the matter is, probably the thing that probably pisses me off the most, I have to say, is we've spent that money, right, on 3 players who aren't going to sign for us permanently. 3 players who aren't going to sign for us. 3 players who might not even come back on loan for us. I mean, again, I look at that image there, 20 million. The probably the only one worth that 20 million in the end was Rashford, and then he got injured. Asensio could be like Rashford, could come crawling back to us. Milan don't want him though, apparently. Mitchell Disasi, just a joke. And then Marcus Rashford. It's just a lot of money. But, let's see what it's saying. Michael was saying worth the 20 million, if not signing them, meant we finished a few spots lower. Pays back just there. Also, 2 of these loans were because of sales. But my issue is, Michael, it hasn't paid off. And I think that will come back to it. Champions League, I'll say this stat again, it's the thing that haunts me. Celtic earned the same amount of money as Tottenham, who won the Europa League. I'm going to say that again, just in case you think I'm like trolling here. Celtic, who did not even, correct me if I'm wrong, get out of the group stage of the Champions League, earned the same money as Tottenham, who won the whole Europa League. The gulf in money from Champions League to Europa League is astronomical. And I knew that not getting Champions League football was going to be massive for Villa. And all this talk of, but we're still in Europe 3 seasons in a row. I do get that. But let's not beat around the bush here. As you're talking about in the chat, how do you want to close the gap on Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, City? You have to be in the Champions League season after season after season because of the revenue. There's a reason Celtic currently piss all over Rangers every season. Why? Because they're in the Champions League and the prize money allows them to do the hell they want. Well, Rangers have just got Russell Martin in and they're scraping around the barrel for transfers. The transfers that Celtic can pull completely different to the game of Rangers. Villa have got themselves in that little trapdoor again. Now, I just don't think the 20 million has been justified in the end for 3 players who got us in the Europa League in the end, but aren't going to sign for us permanently. Now, imagine if we spent that money on signing someone permanently and we still finished in the Europa League, which we don't know about, do we? The media only talk about top media because these 4 clubs can get 100 million every year because of Champions League. I mean, have you not seen the comments about the Club World Cup with Chelsea? The media keep telling us how much money Chelsea are making from this Club World Cup. They're laughing their heads off. Club World Cup's just another cash cow. The clubs who've played in the Club World Cup have just taken in the money. That's Chelsea again propelling away from us. Remember, chat, we got into a position where we finished 2 seasons in a row above Chelsea. And there could have been a swing on the tide. If this year we've allowed them to finish above us, well, the last season just gone, and now they're getting all their cash injection. They're back in the Champions League. It changes the whole narrative of Chelsea. Chelsea are going to be back. So, I don't even rate their manager, but Chelsea are back now. Chelsea are in a great position. Tottenham, being in the Champions League, if they get out of the groups, they're going to be propelled again. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm with 85. And look, to stay relevant, you stay in the top 4. And the modern game football is making us have to feel that. So the loan signings went big to try and get back into the UCL. Before they came, we weren't in a likely place where we tried and it didn't work out. And unfortunately, you are correct here, Rachel, but unfortunately, that is now a failed business model, a failed plan. And someone's got to be accountable for that. We went big and you've got to, and it takes balls, but if it doesn't pay off, it now looks stupid. I think personally, and I'm gonna say this, I think it now looks personally horrendous. Why? Because Asensio took Morgan Rogers' game time in the number 10 role. Straight up. 2, if you want to be super critical, Rashford came in and took away Jacob Ramsey game time. Not only that, did he also then start putting a little bit of a problem for Ollie Watkins, a negative one. And there we go. 2 positions, 2 players straight away. Then we signed Axel Disasi and we felt obliged to use Axel Disasi at right back over the likes of Garcia. There's my things. But I can't stand, and I really believe in this, I can't stand loan players coming in and taking game time off permanent players who are never going to sign permanently. And my point lands to Jacob Ramsey. Jacob Ramsey's development got hindered last season because of Marcus Rashford. Morgan Rogers' development got hindered last season because of Marco Asensio. Regardless of not if we were so close to getting Champions League and took the big roll of the dice, a lot of Villa fans keep telling me it's a longer term project, it's a bigger picture, it's a bigger this. Well, then why are we not giving Ramsey and Morgan Rogers the platform to play in their position? Every single person on this channel knows that Morgan Rogers out wide right was the stinkiest thing we've seen all season. We wanted to bleach our eyes. It was that bad. It was horrendous. It was terrible. It was toxic. It was negative. It was all of that. And yet we had to endure it because we've got Marco Asensio in our squad. And Pete, someone said it on the chat the other day. Oh, how do you know they would have signed permanently? We all know that if we actually did get Champions League football, we think that Rashford and probably Asensio would have signed permanently, right? That's the narrative and the story that we'll have in and going off? Okay, then it does pay off because you get those players and you get an injection into them, but it hasn't. It's Twist said, disagree. Rashford didn't really play in Ramsey's position. McGinn played there instead. Well, where did Rashford play? Apart from a few games where he played as the utility number 9, Rashford played on that wide left when he either came on or started games. So Jacob Ramsey's been fit for a while. That's the thing. So Ramsey was there to play. Asensio looked best on the right as a sub with Rodgers. Central during first few matches. Strange we switched their positions. Exactly that. Asensio was lazy. He's unfortunate luxury now we cannot afford to have. Well, especially on the wages he's on. Conrad says Chelsea will finish 8th. Can't play all these players at once, and not all of the 80 players they have are even good. Listen. I'm a big Chelsea basher here. I've got to say I'm a bit worried about how good Chelsea could be next season. They've signed a proper 9 in Cole Palmer, but also João Pedro. They've got 2 different 9s now. They were stuck with Nicholas Jackson. Chelsea have got Cole Palmer, who, whether people want to bash him or not, stat merchant, penalty merchant, whatever, this guy delivers. They've got this Estavo coming in. I don't know if you've seen this baller, but this guy's going to take the Prem by storm. And then, they've still got the likes of Caicedo, Lavia, Enzo. Their midfield's starting to cook now. The only thing you could say Chelsea's biggest problem is their goalkeeper. And maybe that might cost them the gap. But Chelsea is starting to, I hate saying it because I've bashed Chelsea all season. But their £1 billion money that they've started to spend is actually starting to take shape for their squad. Signing Liam Delap and João Pedro is massive business. I'm sorry, but when you've got 2 players, when you sign 2 players like that, in João Pedro and Liam Delap, yeah, it's different level. So there we go. Chelsea can sell so many players even for cut price and make so much money. Exactly. They're in such a good position, aren't they? All about next season, and we can reset from a more sustainable setup this summer and get used to it. We'll be better for a long run. Exactly that. That's what I'm saying, and agree on the referee, Noel. That's exactly my point. That's exactly my point, though. I think that we can get away with not getting Champions League football once, but doing it 2 seasons in a row is going to put us miles back. Again, listen to my phrase. We're so close, but so far. And if we do not get Champions League football next season, we're so far. We're back to having to do another 5 years, I think, because it's about closing the gap. Us and Newcastle are trying our best to close the gap, and we simply have made those movements, and then we hit a barrier. So let's see what happens. Who is our striker if Watkins goes? At the moment, we don't have another number 9. We've just signed an 18-year-old Zepequino Redmond, but he's going straight into the under-21s. Everyone will tell me it's Donyell Marlon. I don't think I'll sleep well at night if Donyell Marlon becomes our number 9. A lot of people are holding out on Donyell Marlon. Listen, again, chat, hold me accountable here, okay? If Donyell Marlon booms it, yeah, make sure you remind me that I was the one negative about him. Make sure you tell me that I was wrong. I'm going to put this out there. This is my personal take. Don't hold your breath on Donyell Marlon. He's not the guy. He's not the guy. But yeah, that's how I say it. I would love to be wrong. And please, every single one of you who believes in Donyell Marlon, I give you full permission to come and gloat in my face how wrong I was. I'm leaving that out there. But yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, please do like and subscribe. Big up to Vamos VJ. Brady Bryan said Goldbridge himself said today that all clubs on the top 4 are screwed. It's very evident in the transfer market. It's so evident in transfer market. The transfer market is not lying. Everyone, the big 4 are making moves like it's easy, and we're all struggling with our monopoly money. It's crazy. It's not even a joke. It's actually blatantly obvious. It's actually blatantly obvious. It's staring us right in the eye, and that's how the Premier League won it. So there we go. I like Malin, but I don't think he's a striker centre forward. Yeah. Carrie, your joke is not going to catch me out, I'm afraid. So yeah, nice try. I'll give you 10 out of 10 for effort, 1 out of 10 for execution. But yeah, look, John said, but if we get conference first, then you're ready for the Champions League. We said it's bloody good, but we did it a bit backwards in a good way. I don't know if it's good. Right. The only English, we haven't won the Conference League. We failed at that. Champions League, it's good. Champions League, we did well in. The pressure that's being now put on Emery to win this Europa League is astronomical. And I'll probably say it again, I'm a man who likes to repeat some of my beliefs and phrases. This team struggles with pressure. It's shown us now in the last 2 seasons, it struggles with pressure. Are they going to be able to handle the hat of being Europa League favourites? I'm waiting for the bookies to put the odds out. I'm sure Villa will be top 2 favourites for the Europa League. Do you all agree here, chat, that Villa will be the bookies' favourites for the Europa League because of who our manager is? I'm absolutely sure of it. Absolutely sure of it. That we're going to be bookies' favourites. And so can this football club handle it this time? Unai Emery's never won a trophy in England. It's the only place he hasn't won it. He needs that trophy. And then he needs that life of getting top 4. So yeah, I think that Villa this season will be judged on their Europa League campaign. I think that's staring us in the face. I think it's staring us in the face that we're going to be judged on that. And if we don't win that Europa League, I think there'll be questions thrown at Villa from a lot of people outside of our club. And I think people will start asking about Unai Emery. I think they'll say he didn't win the Conference League and then he didn't win his trophy. Can this guy actually win trophies in England? So I'm going to put that out there. We have to find we have to deliver in that Europa League. In fact, I'm probably putting it as the expectation that we have to win that trophy. Because also, chat, you and I know it grants you safe passage into the Champions League. Unai Emery will not be messing around now. That's his trophy. So let's see what bottle. And if we got Matty Cash playing, then we know it's game over because that guy can't handle the pressure. He's clearly told us that in an interview, and that's what I'm going to say on the matter. And yeah, Rich said, I agree. I'm still bloody terrified if Palace are in the Europa League, though. It's exactly that. Exactly that. But I think that's where Villa content creators and podcasters you'll find this season will be divided. I think there's going to be some creators who are still looking at the bigger picture of Unai and what we're trying to build and where are we as a football club and there. And then there's going to probably be others where maybe that's where I could fall in. I think I'm still in the middle, but I'm banging the got to win something this season and got to get in the Champions League. And if not, then I'm starting to think what next. That's where I'm probably alluding to. I can't quite keep hearing this word project and phases. And what I certainly can't hear is, where were we 6 years ago? I can't hear that phrase anymore. I don't want to hear that phrase anymore. Where were we? Remember when we were at Rotherham away? I can't hear that anymore. We're long gone past that. We're long gone past that. Long gone past that. Yeah, the Conference League to Olympiacos was, oh, geez, that was sickening. That actually Olympiacos debacle was just mesmerising how much we crippled. So, look, Europa League's going to be very competitive, but Villa have got that favourite title for a reason. We're going to have to deal with it. We're going to win something. And big up to Adiari again. He said, Anti Langer, yeah, well, very, very good piece of business from Newcastle. Very good piece of business. So there we go, chat. But yeah, big up to each and every single one of you. I am going to be doing a little half-an-hour show on Big Up in a minute, which is a little bit different to what I can do on YouTube. So it's still going to be a bit of a transfer one, but I want to look at some players' highlights. I want to look at Jan Bissak's highlights. I want to look at some of Vlahovic's goals, and I want to look at some other things. On Big Up, we have the ability to be able to play content, videos, without being copyrighted. On YouTube, I'd love to sit here and get highlight reels off players. But I want to have a look at some highlight reels. And if there's any other transfer people that you want me to have a look at, then you can do that. So it's only going to be another half-an-hour show. It's not going to be a long one. But I want to play some highlight reels of some of these players that we're linked to that, again, YouTube does not allow you to do. So if you're interested in some more Aston Villa talk, which is what we're going to do now. I'm going to copy and paste this link to you now. We're going to be over on the Big Up, and that app is actually coming out in the next coming weeks, which is brilliant. But yeah, come and join this. Join me for another Villa show here, and I'm going to be able to play some clips that allows us to be able to scout these players a little bit better than YouTube offers. So it's going to be on Big Up. I'm going to go over there in a minute. I'm going to quickly show you the screen so you know what you're going to. It's not a fake, it's not a scam, it's right here. And let's get some, as always, let's get some Up the Villas in the Big Up chat right there for me. And I want to have a look at some players' highlights. That's what we're going to be doing. So let's see a few of you come over. It's going to be 20 to 30 minutes. It's just a little test. I want to see if it works well. Put Aston Villa player scouting clips. Get into the chat there. Have a look at some Villa players and join me for something that YouTube doesn't allow. Otherwise, as I said, I would play loads of highlight reels. In fact, do you know what? I might even try and find some of Donyell Marlin's best goals. Let's see what this guy's finishing is all about. But if you want to talk more Villa and you want to be able to watch some clips without us getting copyrighted, then come join me on Big Up. It'll be worth it. Let's see some of you in the chat right now and go join me there. I'll tell you what, if Marlon doesn't get 15 plus G in the Prem, I'll donate the price of next season home kit. I love that. I love that. Deal on. I'll match you on that one. I'll take that wager. Absolutely, Christian. Absolutely. So come over to here with some Up the Villas in the chat. Let's spam the Big Up chat now with Up the Villa. I'm going to put it in a few more times. Let's get some Up the Villas in that Big Up chat for me right now under my name. And let's watch some more clips. People, I'll see you over there. Big up to everyone who's watched here today on the show. Really appreciate your support. We'll be back again, as always, delivering the Villa content for you guys. And yeah, we've got our extensive show now ready for you to try something new. Come and have a look. Come and support. It's all very appreciated. People, I'm out of here. Big up to all of you. Come on the Big Up. Up the Villa. Ta-da.